As an officer, your job is to do what? Assist, protect, defend. And it's not just the store owner.
Welcome to Pull the Pin Radio, a place where average veterans come to share their opinions on the world we live in. We can't guarantee you're going to like our opinions.
But we promise we're going to enjoy giving them to you.
I'm Jim.
And I'm Mike.
And I'm Paul.
Hey, let's pull the pin.
Oh, smooth,
right.
like we've done this before.
Yeah. What episode is this? I think that's probably about the third or fourth time we got it.
Well, we're improving. That's all that matters.
Yeah. Wait till the next episode. Hey, so what's on deck for today?
Is that a question?
Yeah, it was, but I could answer it. Hey, let's do an update on that guy's trial. Chauvin, Officer Chauvin, whatever. The chauvinist.
You want to do an update? You can't even say his name?
The name,
yeah.
So it must be.
Well, in all seriousness, I did hear he was a really bad husband.
Yeah. I'm going to hold my comment. No, I say that because a lot of people are, it's just the defense that's presenting their case. I mean, the prosecution presenting their case now, and everyone's getting all happy and stuff. I'm like, you didn't see the other side yet.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm just waiting. The old rabbit in the hat or whatever. So a lot of people are getting happy. I'm like, see, that's just going to make it worse if it doesn't go your way. Let's just wait. And let's just hear it all and then respond accordingly. What do you guys think? Okay.
Well, I think from the get-go, I think what's kind of interesting is they've charged him with second-degree murder, third-degree murder, and unintentional homicide at the same time. So it seems very interesting that let's just throw whatever we can throw at it versus saying this is the case that what we have and going for that to begin with. So I find that kind of very interesting.
You said all at the same time? Or
Correct.
Wasn't that they – I read that. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Remember, they even added one back. They added the third one, they added back.
No, I was thinking they were going with him with like second degree, and then another officer, there was, another charge.
Nope.
We're just saying all 3 or 4 charges were just on him.
On him, which I find that really, really interesting, because if you look at a matter of fact of law, you would think that you would say this qualifies for under this statute.
Yeah.
Second degree murder is way different than unintentional manslaughter.
Right.
I mean, so I just find it interesting from the beginning. We're going to throw, I don't know that there's a fourth that's been added, but we're going to throw 3 at you and see which one sticks. So I find that interesting from the get-go.
Well, I think
I do too now.
Well, I think it's not absurd. I mean, if you're talking about normal, yeah, a prosecutor would be like, hey, what can we prove? We have a strong case. Even if they say it might not go through, we'll go with this. But I think these prosecutors are banking on public opinion. They're banking on this. They're banking on the jury's going to be swayed no matter what it is. They're banking on it because just like you said, that sounds silly to me. Like they know the law. They know what they can prove. And I think 2 of the 3 are going to be thrown out before you even get too far, just by the evidence presented.
Yeah, I'm still a little perplexed that they can do that. Normally they just shoot for the highest, the most severe, and then with the hopes of the person getting convicted of something, a lesser charge. But damn, to charge him with all 3, he could.
I just don't understand.
He only could have done 1.
I mean, if you're bringing indictment, I would think that you would look at the violation, you look at the evidence that you have at hand, and you would say, this is a case of blah.
Yeah. That's just, yeah.
Right?
That's
and so even in this case, don't think for a moment that I'm defending the process, I'm defending the man, I'm defending Chauvin, whatever the case may be. I just really would like to defend the truth of the matter and how we look at this. And so from the get-go, when we start, we're just going to throw whatever we can throw out there, and whatever sticks is going to be good. And I think, like Jim hit it, is a lot of it is it's the court of public opinion that it seems to be.
Yeah, but to me, that's still, I'm trying to understand how, okay, if I break into your house and I steal something.
What you're saying is the elements of the highest crime are in the lower ones. So why would you need to be charged with the lower ones?
Yeah.
But if you're going for the sake of like murder, if it involves intent, right? If you say you charge them with a murder that has intent, like I intended to kill somebody, you can still be convicted of manslaughter, a lower offense, because the
Right.
intent wasn't proven.
Right.
Unless wherever the court is or their jurisdiction, you have to list all the lesser offenses. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe there's something
Yeah.
in that system.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Because I'm with you. I get what you're saying. It doesn't make sense to charge somebody with manslaughter when they might have intended to kill somebody and you just couldn't prove it. So it's manslaughter anyway.
Right.
So, but I don't know. But I still think it's all theater. I think a lot of it's theater because, I mean, I even saw recently that YouTube, the Black Lives Matter protesters, all those people, there's no winning this. Because if Chauvin gets off by the letter of the law, then it was the jury that was tainted, or the judge that was tainted, or there's no winning this. It's going to be mob justice or nothing. It's just, to my opinion, that's it.
Yeah. Okay. But if it's okay, now you can't speak on the letter of the law, but based on all the video that you've seen, do you think he should get off?
Well, not off completely,
Right.
but I don't know if any of those charges are going to stick.
Mm.
I mean, I watched a couple. I guess the trial's been televised. I haven't really been watching that. I've watched a couple little videos here and there offsetting. I just watched one today with some fire lady that was testifying, and
Yeah.
I mean, you saw that her opinions were like really her opinions, and I understood from a fire person a perspective, like, let me give first aid. You're killing the guy. Let me give first aid. But some of the comments she made was like he was killing her. Like I don't like from a police officer's perspective. She was trying to nail the police for all the faults, but none of the fire people's faults. I don't know if you picked up on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
Well,
crazy.
for me, I was like, okay, if it was that bad, well, in the society that we live in, I guess I can understand it. But to me, if it was that bad in that position, why couldn't you just go over there and provide? I don't know. Let's ask the EMT guy.
Well, let me one caveat before that. They asked, why were you filming it?
I didn't know she was filming.
Yeah.
Oh, that okay. I missed that.
So you tell me, like, how does that look?
Mm.
Well,
Paul?
let's ask the.
I'm going to leave my personal opinions on her and her testimony, like, out of any of this, really, to be honest. But the delineation between murder and manslaughter is, did you intend to kill somebody, or did someone die because of your actions? That's the delineation between the two of those. So to begin with, even though he has a very smug, don't question my authority look upon his face in the act of doing it, right, which doesn't, that visual does not bode very well. But does anybody honestly think that that dude showed up with the intention to kill George Floyd? Do you really think he went, fuck it, I got a badge and a gun, I'm here to kill the guy? Or is it reasonable to say that maybe his actions caused this man's death? Right? So that's a difference between murder and manslaughter. So it's been politicized right off the bat. It's a whole bunch of kabuki theater to begin with right off the bat. Again, I'm not defending the guy. I'm not defending the system. None of that. Right? I think we have an accountability issue in this when we have this conversation. But I don't think that guy showed up with the intent to kill George Floyd. So it's a manslaughter issue. And so now we look at it, and the defense is going to, people. I'm in a fairly large debate group, and people are like, it's really weird that they're looking at the toxicology report of the dead person. I think when you go into jurisprudence on reasonable doubt, when you look at what the guy had in his system, the way he was acting, his very recent OD that he had not within time, I don't think it's within reasonable doubt to say that maybe this guy didn't cause that. But, and that's probably the truth. And again, I'm not defending the guy. That's probably in the truth of within what had happened. But I think this guy is going to be hung out just as a matter of politic, honestly.
Okay, so what I was going to say before was when you look at the letter of the law, I agree. The manslaughter versus murder, malice aforethought, yeah, got it. I don't see how he would be able to get off. Just, letter of the law, we can't really speak on it because we don't know everything, right? But when I watch the video, and I say, doesn't matter what was in his system, because whatever was in his system didn't warrant, to me, what the officer did, like we analyzed, Jim, after he was placed in handcuffs and on the ground. That's the part right there for me where, sorry, dude, you just lost me.
Well, what this comes down to, like, and we did discuss this in when we reviewed the actual police videotape, it, and I thought everything was obviously subjective up until the point where he was no longer a threat. Then they're kneeling on him. Like, to me, he's not a threat. I don't know why you're kneeling on him. So I think there's obviously nobody in here probably thinks there shouldn't be some disciplinary action. But it goes back to the debate too, where what is your perception of, like, even with the paramedics? And I know as a police officer, you can't let the paramedics in until the police have secured the scene. So take, for example, a police shooting that happens under complete justification. If the guy gets shot and he's bleeding out and you don't know if there's a partner or whatever, you still have to secure the scene for your safety, right? Yeah. So I'm not saying that that's the case here. I'm just saying at what point does that perception of, okay, it's secure now, play? Because that's a wider range than the letter of the law. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I can agree with you. We've been involved in those, same as I'm sure Paul. But for me, it was like we talked about before. Had him in handcuffs. He was down. He wasn't resisting or being, acting in some type of agitated state anymore. And you have 4 officers there. The other 3, plus more, could have secured the scene. A lot of paramedics or the EMT in.
Right. So at that point, is it a law he broke, or is it a police policy violation?
Well, let's listen to Paul on that one. As far as if you did that to me, did you break a law?
Well, I think what's happened here is we have found the outlier in the small percentages, right? So as I got my paramedics license in 1996, I've worked many a scene where EMS has been called because, oh my gosh, I'm having chest pain. I get pulled for a DUI and I'm clearly shit-faced drunk, and my chest pain is because I'm laying on my liquor bottle in the front seat of my truck. Now I'm not. So there is this. I have witnessed more than once this. Oh my gosh, I'm having this medical issue, and I think this is going to get me out of trouble. And little do they know that we take them to the ER and the police follow us to the ER, and it just continues after that point. So I think that you kind of get used to this. Oh, I can't breathe. I can't. Whatever the case may be, and you slip into that way, and the 10% catch you. I mean, it happens in what I do in medicine. I'm just drunk, whatever, and they're having a diabetic issue. It's those small percentages that catch you. So you have to look at the way that you practice your craft and think about those percentages.
Yeah,
but
I think
what did we have? We had a very large dude in cuffs and one person restraining him on the ground. This is a dude that fought to get in the truck, fought to get out of the truck. You finally got him out of the truck. He's no small man. He's a big guy. Obviously, if you look at his demeanor, like, this cat is not in his sensible mind, I would think. I would think if you had any street smarts of dealing with people, you'd go, this dude's judgment is impaired on something, whether it be medical, because I'm going to think medical on the first hand. I don't know if where you live in downtown Minnesota in this area, if dudes dorked out on speedballs. I don't know. I don't have the benefit of being there and having that experience. But again, I don't think that this Chauvin guy, went into it with the intent to kill George Floyd. And really, if you think about it in the backstory of the perversity of it, this happened because a guy was passing counterfeit bills when the state passes counterfeit bills by the trillions all the time. I mean, if you really want to get deep and philosophical about it, like, we can go that direction. However, but by doing that screwed this guy from the local market. This guy that's got a business in this local area in the hood trying to provide a service to people, and this guy came in and screwed him. And so what's his recourse? He calls the police, and they go, "Hey, man, like, this dude essentially fucking stole from me."
Yeah, and it was
they
found
go, "Hey,
out
man,
it
you
was,
stole from this guy." And he's like,
yeah,
I can't. You're getting me out of my car, and you're want to put me in your car, but now all of a sudden I'm like flipped out from your car because it's not my car.
Yeah, and you think about it, if obviously Floyd was the reason for the riots, but if he could only held out a little bit longer, he could have looted all kinds of stores and got all kinds of free stuff. So he just had to wait a little bit longer, and he didn't need a counterfeit bill.
Yeah, but it was now on record that it was an actual $20 bill.
Is it really?
Yeah.
So he passed the fake 20.
Are you making that up, Mike, just to make some?
No, I'm being serious.
Yeah,
it was,
that's what I thought.
You said that it was an actual $20 bill, and the store owners regret calling the police.
Oh, so it was
Really?
a legitimate $20 bill.
Yeah.
Well, that still doesn't change the case because the police don't know that. I mean, they may know that after the investigation, but that wouldn't change the case.
Well, when you look at public opinion, you have people out there that say, well, he was stealing, right? If he wasn't stealing, none of this would have happened. He wasn't stealing. He passed an actual.
So
he
what's
actually
it saying?
passed
You have your day in court.
$20 bill.
You have your day in court.
Say what?
You have your day in court.
Well, and you could probably
he can't
file some false suit, something, or probably reverse it. Now he can't. No.
Right.
You have your day in court. if you're legitimate, you have your day in court, right?
Come on, though, man. Now, okay. Let's be real here. And once again, we're not choosing sides. We're just stating our own facts. Well, perception of facts, right? But no, if someone came to me, if the police came to me and said, "Hey, we're doing an investigation. I need you to step out of your car," I'm going to be like, "What's going on?" You know what I mean?
Right.
I might step out of my car still, but I'm going to be inquisitive. I'm like, "What's going on?" And then they want to, take me down. I'm like, no, what's going on? I didn't do anything wrong. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Now, people will say he did that because he had some drugs on him or just taking him some drugs, whatever. It doesn't matter to me. But the average person is not going to go so willingly when they believe they did nothing wrong.
Well, I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, but at some point, the average person is going to be pushed to a state of, am I willing to die on this hill? Because the police will up their game too. So at what point does the average person say, okay, whatever? I mean, at what point?
As soon as they put their hand on that weapon, that's.
Well, that's my.
But it's not a joke. Say what?
When there's people with the magic markers, officer, and then and then we'll just be on our way. I mean, could we do that?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know why that didn't warrant. Even if he did, I mean, these days, what do we do with drugs? Just write them a little citation and go about their business. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't know why $20 wouldn't warrant a citation of some. I don't know.
Right.
Like Paul said, then you have your day in court. For the bracelets to come on and all of that to happen over $20. Okay. I
Oh,
don't
so
agree with you.
I'll agree. I will agree with you 100% on the point you just made on that. Like we get to this point of the shit's going to cost you your life if you resist hard enough, right? And
Right.
that's really kind of the issue, and should be have people. How should they respond? Should they just because I put a uniform on, a costume on, however you want to look at it, like the rules of how we deal in society shouldn't differ from me to you, right? And I think that's the real philosophical issue when you get into it. I just find it
Well,
very interesting that they're throwing this dude under the bus. They really are. I mean, again, I don't like, you should have accountability for your actions, but this guy, like, oh yeah, fuck this guy. Like, here's the red meat. Like, give it to the masses.
So you're referencing the charges.
Yeah, well, I just think that the way that the media is portraying it, and what's really interesting is the way that other officers in parts of that thin blue line are now willing to throw this cat under the bus. Whereas before it would seem, or at least the narrative, the accepted narrative, would be that was quite the opposite.
Yeah, and I've been saying for years that was the problem.
Well, it is part of the problem. Police unions are a huge part of the problem, in my opinion.
Yep.
Can I go back? I want to go back to a point that we missed because we were talking about what the average person will do, right? And I remember watching that video, and I remember that we don't even have to talk about the average person because Mr. Floyd came out of that car, don't shoot me, don't shoot me, don't shoot. So he already preconceived the idea that these people would and were willing to shoot him. He said that. The cop's like, I'm not going to shoot you, I'm not going to shoot you, but he already believed that. So to the point I'm making, when you're talking about the average citizen, if you really believe the police are going to shoot you and you did no wrong, I would walk into the back of the police car. I personally would, because it would be the safest place for me. Because if I gave them a reason to do something, it'll be justified. Why even take that chance? If you really believe the cop's going to shoot you, what are you going to do? You got no ways of defending yourself.
Well,
what are you really going to do?
If you really look at the way, and we're talking about, okay, you know how I hate talking about the media, right? The media has this double standard, and we all know it, and they like to sensationalize for clicks and everything. But if you really look at the media and how they portray police officers, why wouldn't somebody feel that way?
But that just validates my point, though. That validates my point. It doesn't matter why the people feel that way or how they feel that way, what got them to feel that way. The point is, if I felt like Mike James was going to kick my ass next time I saw him, I'm not going to be close to him. Or when I am close to him, I'm going to be very nice to him. And then I'll escape that situation.
Yeah, but you have cases where people have been nice, followed police officers' directives, and next thing you know, they get shot.
I don't know how many cases that is, but I'd still take that chance.
Well, okay, we're personalizing it, right? So
that's what I did.
Yeah, so when I see someone like that say, "Please don't shoot me, please don't shoot me," yeah, I can like we discussed before. I get stopped on average once a year, and I'm never wrong. Okay, let's just put it out there. I'm never wrong. I don't speed that much, but my interaction and all the cops have been white guys. I have never received a citation where I had to pay money. I received a citation, but I never had. They were all warnings and stuff like that, right? But so that's my experience. Yeah.
I got more than you then.
Oh yeah, I'm average, man. I'm telling you.
I got more than you.
Yeah. But my whole point is that's my experience. But when I look on the news, media, whatever, YouTube, whatever, if I really take that in as reality, I can understand why people have a different perspective. I really can. So when people say they're fearful when they're in the right or they haven't done anything wrong and they're stopped by police officers, I get it. I understood it when I was a cop. And it didn't matter that I was a black cop. It was just I was a cop. So there's that stigma. So I personally, I get it. I knew it was kind of You know, the numbers were skewed a lot, but I get it. And I think that's the problem with a lot of people. They don't see it from that social media news outlet perspective. You know, that's how people are receiving their news. So there has to be some understanding there, but most of the time there's not.
No, so I get that, especially as a type of person of, okay, as long as I'm not hurting anybody else, like who are you to like intervene with my day to day life? So I totally get that. But it was ironic. I just got off a 10-hour road trip, and I was thinking about your non follicular challenged bald head of yourself. And I remember we had a conversation one time, and you know, we had talked about people that want to portray themselves as thugs, right? And that crossed all colors and races and barriers. There's people that wanted to portray themselves as thugs. And you had said one time, like, hey, I have to work extra hard against this type of stereotype that's accepted, right? And so that's always one thing that's kind of stuck with me. It's kind of bullshit. But however, if I would think that you would know from police work that if you come across thuggish, hoodish, and that transcends all races and colors, if you come across that way, there's a chance that I'm going to probably have to approach you a little bit differently than the average. Hey, I'm just going to church and I'm late and that's why I'm speeding. No?
I treated everyone the same.
Well, but
Well,
yet there's a reason there's levels of force, right?
Well, no,
you still have to escalate according to plan.
No. So I agree with you, and Mike, I try and do the same. I'm gonna start from this same place with everybody. That doesn't mean that I'm not. I don't take visual cues that might put me more on guard than not. Doesn't mean that those are always fail safe. Sometimes they do fail that way. You get some nice little coming home from church woman, and next thing you know, she just wants to smoke you. She killed her husband and her kids, or whatever the kids may be. But that might be a little bit different than, hey, I'm rolling around looking at cars in a dark alley at 4:00 in the morning. You know, so those are survival instincts that we all in the military does that to us too. You know, is this a potential threat? Okay, how do you start thinking about mitigating the threat? Right. So, if you're going about life justly, I don't think that you're going to stand as much of an opportunity being messed with as if not. And it's kind of what Jim was saying earlier, is if you get to a point like, okay, if I'm that fearful and I have no means to resist, I might as well just comply and have my day in court, even though I think the system's stacked against you, because I've been subject to the officer said, but that beats getting your ass beat on the side of the road. I'm not saying getting your ass beat on the side of the road is right or just. I mean, it's a totally different topic. I really think if a dude just sat in the car and said, hey, let's mark the little $20 bill and I can go on my way, I think they had a much better outcome. Instead, we burnt half the country down.
Yeah, I could just tell you, like, maybe I've been stopped before. I even had to fight the law, not physically fight them. You know, bad cop, bad ticket, you know. And I went in there and I filed a complaint and all that stuff. And at the end of the day, I just had to say, you know, was this worth it? Like, what's going to become of this? You know, is it worth it? Is it worth me getting smeared? And maybe the police are corrupt. I don't know. Is it worth me starting a fire and them all now watching me and pulling me over and harassing me on purpose because I'm white? I don't know. I mean, I don't know why they'd do that. But, you know, so at some point, you know, like I said, I just go back to, this is not the hill I'm going to die on. I'm not going to die on that hill. Even if I did the crime, I'm caught. You know, if you don't want prison that bad, don't do crime. I mean, It's just that simple. And if you're
Well,
wrongfully,
yeah, but
if you're wrongfully, yeah, this stuff happens. I mean, it happens. I hope it doesn't happen to anybody innocent. It has. I
yeah, but
mean, what's that?
the I'm not gonna say issue, but
Challenge, concern.
yeah, yeah, that's good. The challenging thing to me is getting people to flip that.
What do you mean?
You know, hey, if you just complied, why didn't you just comply? Like I'm sure you guys seen the one with the Army lieutenant recently got stopped at the gas station. Subject for another day. But anyway, but no, why don't we flip that and say, hey, officer, is it worth it? All this stuff that you're going through, all this stuff that has caused the country, like Paul just spoke on, burning half the country down, was it worth it?
Right.
To show off like that and have that type of conduct on social media, people watching you, and now you throw your hands in your pocket, you're kneeling on the guy was it worth it?
Well, I agree. This goes back to Paul's comment. That's what I think, and I agree with you. I don't think a counterfeit 20 was worth any of that, even if it was counterfeit. But it goes back to Paul's. That's where I think the culture is the problem. When you start going into your district, whatever it is, you know what it is. When I worked in Colorado, we had 5 distinctly different districts. I mean, the North District, one was full of rich people, baseball stars, mansions, all the way down to the biggest trailer park I'd ever seen in my life. And each officer who worked that district knew what to expect when they went in there. And you didn't see a lot of crimes or high crimes up in that District 1. Down in those trailer parks in the district next to it, you saw a lot of the same stuff. So the culture in the police field is you tend to go into it expecting the same stuff. I'm not saying it's right. Even like when I did it, I still treat every scenario the same. But 9 times out of 10, you're still heightened because you know what the results are going to or possibly be because that's normal. So I can't say that, you go into it looking to get in a fight, but every time you go to a call, no matter how good you are, it turns into a fight. What do you do the next time you go to a call?
Well, yeah, I got it. I get that. That's why, like, through the training, and I'm going to try to speak on Paul's training as well as an EMT going into a situation. He's just, you just focus on, what's the issue and how you say, I'm going to prolong death as much as best I could, right? I remember he said that. I was like, wow, that's deep. But anyway, like the worst cases that you can have as an officer, regular patrol officer, is what? Domestic. So I treated everyone the same because we all know how it is. Once the bracelets go on someone, that other one starts to, get a little irate, and who knows what's going to happen. So that was just like something personal. I treat everybody the same.
Well, you treat domestics a little different, right? When you go to domestic, you're on heightened alert.
Yeah, because there's more, like Paul was talking about, more heightened sense of danger, if you will.
Volatile, right? Yeah.
Right, but because of the area, or let's just call it what it is, the race of the individual, no, oh hell no.
So if you go to a high drug traffic area for a call, you wouldn't think that there'd be drugs there?
Well, yeah, there could be drugs there, but but if I go to a something about drugs, a case about drugs, I don't care if I was going to your house or someone else's house. In the hood, it's still the danger is there for me.
But let me give you the scenario. So you go to, this neighborhood which is known for drugs and stuff like that, and you get a call for what? A counterfeit bill. You go to the counterfeit bill, you go get the side of the story for the person being accused, and all of a sudden you see him stuffing something in his pocket. You ignore it? What do you do?
What in his pocket?
What would look to you like some sort of drugs?
No, I wouldn't ignore it. You investigate further, but there's no danger there, though. And I told you about the case I had that's similar to this one, where it was a bounce check, for pizza. They ordered pizza and gave a bounce check, and I just went and talked to the people and said, "Really, y'all have us called out here for a bounce check?" I said, "Why don't you just pay?" I still remember the $15.83. That's how much it costs for the damn pizza. Why don't you just pay the $15.83 and you won't have to see us ever again? They went in the back, came out with the money, and that was it. There was no heightened sense of, danger or whatever. Nothing.
I don't know if the pizza joint was
It
known
was in
for
the
any of
hood.
that, but
It was in the hood.
okay.
All right, Mike. So as a former LEO, when you've seen the video, so you approach Mr. Floyd in his vehicle, and he is acting in the manner that he's acting. Do you just leave him alone?
No.
I think we broke this down, right?
Or is he a potential public health and safety concern?
Now I'm gonna tell you this, okay? Is he escalated the situation to me, right? And we had broken down the video in an
Who
episode.
did? Who elevated it?
Floyd, the way he was acting, right? So and if you look at the episode where we broke it down, it's like, hey, I don't see anything he did wrong here. The officer, you know what I mean? So each case is different, but what I'm saying is, if it's in the hood and somebody's acting like that, or it could be the suburbs, I was responding the same way.
Right.
That's my whole point. It's not. I'm not. If somebody's on drugs, I act the same way, man. I'm gonna handle it. And I did.
Do you think that Chauvin reacted differently because Floyd was black?
Yes.
You think if he had a white person of the same statute, he would have acted differently?
Yes. I got to keep it going. I said it once. I got to keep it going, Paul. You weren't there for the first.
I mean, that's a huge presumption. You and I are both making presumptions. I mean, there's no way that we can say that there's one way that is right or wrong. But
okay, let me be serious here.
Is control the situation. Don't question my authority. When my authority is in question, I'm going to escalate to control the situation. That's how modern policing works in the United States.
Yeah, and that's wrong.
Had a white guy that was the same size, that was acting the same way. I think he would have gotten the exact same treatment.
I think there was a case before this one where the same thing happened.
He went, "Oh, I'm going to fuck this guy up because he's black." I just don't believe that. Now, that doesn't necessarily say that don't question my authority and the escalation is a good thing, because I don't agree with it. I think it's one of the problems that we have in policing in the United States. Right? But I don't think that this is this, fuck this black guy, I'm just going to... I don't agree with it. As much as I don't like the smug-ass look on that dude's face while all that shit's going on, I just don't...
You don't think it was based off his reaction, or his conduct was based off of race?
Yeah, I don't agree with that. I think it's based off of position.
I'll give you that. But once again, now to me, if I was sitting there talking to Chauvin, I would say, was it worth it? I don't think it was, because it's hard to prove. For one, it's hard to prove.
You're also talking hindsight,
history on the guy, right?
Hindsight's very difficult to. We all have much better clarity in hindsight than we do in the moment.
Well, I think as we said though, Paul, in our breakdown, the hindsight we get, but when we talked about the point of no return was at the police car.
Yeah.
When he was in cuffs on the ground. Even me and Mike were talking about that because there were other officers saying, "Hey, don't you think? Hey, don't do this," and Chauvin wasn't listening to them. So at that point, I think that's where the culpability of all that he's responsible is. And why he stayed on him for that long, even in court now they're saying it's not uncommon. The guy who teaches it said it's not uncommon to stay that long. But even as me and Mike were saying, I still don't understand where the threat is. I don't understand why this guy is a threat if he's barely even moving. So sit him up. Let the paramedics come in. If you think he's a threat, you just re-engage. He's not, his hands aren't free. So I think that was just treated wrong from that point on.
Yeah, but just get this out there. When you talk about things that are not uncommon, there has to be some action or some type of behavior from the subject for that to be uncommon or common behavior, like Chauvin did. If someone's just laying there, handcuffs behind their back, that's uncommon for 9 minutes on the back. From back, neck, back, whatever. Doesn't matter to me. It's uncommon. And you have 3 other officers there. Hey, that's a I don't know. I'm
But
sorry.
he's one. Again, I'm not trying to put up the guy, but he's one guy. The others aren't physically restraining Floyd. He's one guy doing it. And okay, so let's even.
No, they
Again,
were
I may
physically
think.
restraining him.
Okay, so
At one point, there
let's
were.
even think about it from an anatomical standpoint. Let's say he had his knee directly on his carotid artery. Dude's got another one on the other side that's still like pumping and flowing. So, like, if you look at a blood choke, like if I wrap you up in a triangle and I'm choking you out, I'm cutting off both of your carotid arteries' blood flow. So even if, and again, I'm not making excuses for the dude. So even if the knee was directly on his carotid artery, he still has collateral circulation in the other artery. So
Yeah.
is it feasible that a mid-50s large black man, so you put there's a whole bunch of cardiovascular genetic categories I can throw you into, that's been doing speedballs, could it potentially, within a reasonable doubt, his other situations be the cause of his death? Could it? That's the argument they're making. And I think they're going to win on it, honestly.
Yeah. I don't think the prosecution's going to prove their case. I think it doesn't matter, though, because I think the public opinion
I think
is
they're going to win on it.
You think they're going to prove it?
Yeah, I think they're going to win on it. I think at worst he would get manslaughter, but I still think they're going to win on it. That within a reasonable doubt, that's the way that our jurisprudence.
You said at worst what?
The lowest one.
Would you say at worst what?
At worst would be manslaughter.
Oh, okay, okay.
For him,
I would be satisfied with that.
Well,
once again, going by the letter of the law, I would literally be satisfied with that.
Yeah, I mean, and so, but is there reasonable doubt that Floyd's condition going into that altercation is what led to his death, where a normal, healthy person going into that wouldn't have died? Is there reasonable doubt with a lethal dose of fentanyl, methamphetamines? Is there reasonable doubt? I think there is.
Yeah, but is there? To me, it's stronger when you have doctors saying that a healthy person with a knee on their back like that is potentially suffer the same consequences.
Well, asphyxiation is no new thing in law enforcement. People have died from asphyxiation throughout. That's happened.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean it's right.
What I'm just saying, though, so there's always a chance.
Right.
What?
It's that small percentage that bites you in the ass.
There you go. The 10%.
Right. That's what I was saying earlier. It's a small percentage. And so you have to change the way that you practice your profession to try and accommodate those small percentages and not get bit in the ass by them.
There's a lot of percentages going around today that we have to modify everything for. So why not law enforcement?
No, I'm not going to say that, but I go back to what I said before about how, dude, it was just $20. Had your day, you could have had your day in court. You did the right thing, whatever. But nobody ever speaks on the officer's actions. Like, was it really worth it? You know what I mean? It's like, it's always like one-sided. And, being prior law enforcement, I always look at the officer's actions first and say, okay. It's just like if it was an EMT. Paul could speak on it because he's been there. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Well, that's the first I try to do. I put myself in their situation. That's the first thing I do. What would I do? And I think a lot of the uproar is from people who don't know either side of them. They're not the criminal or they're not the police officer. So they're just looking at this from somebody else telling them that was wrong, that killed him. So of course, if that killed him, I would feel bad. I would react to that.
Yeah. Okay, Jim.
What, are they all criminals?
No, I'm saying most of what I've been saying for years, man. The average American looks at things, they inject themselves into the storyline by race, camaraderie, and class.
Right, but you're talking about injecting yourself through experience. Like, if you have no experience as a law enforcement officer, how do you even know what the officer is even possibly thinking? Because you couldn't put yourself in that scenario. Like Paul with the EMT.
Yeah, but believe it or not, I can care less what the officer's thinking. I always look at what they're doing.
Sure.
Right.
But what I'm saying is there's times when you've been to a call, like you said, domestic. Why are you all tense and ready, or why are you approaching and do? I mean, you do certain things because of your experience. Other people think you can send a counselor over there and just stop the whole thing from happening.
Yeah. We
Like
should have
that's
seen
what
the
I'm talking
counselor
about.
first.
Yeah, they should send the counselor,
Yeah.
and then Paul will come and take the counselor out, and then the police will go in.
Yeah. I think it's a
Yeah.
good conversation though.
Yeah, I still think at the end of the day, he's not going to get charged. I think they're going to find a way out of this. I'd be surprised, but I think the public's not going to take it anyway. So lock your
And
doors, board your
he's going to
windows.
be charged. He's going to be found guilty on one of those 30 charges. He's going to be found guilty on one of them.
Yeah, I'm saying no. You say yeah. Paul, you saying yeah?
Paul?
He's going to be found guilty. Paul just sitting there with a big smile, so he must be frozen.
I think it.
Oh, he is frozen.
At the harshest, they're going to have him at manslaughter. I think at the harshest.
Yeah.
I don't think they can prove murder.
I wasn't saying he shouldn't get some
the
punishment.
Defense prove. I think there's a reasonable doubt. Reasonable doubt. I mean, again, that's the jurisprudence that we utilize in our legal system. I think there's a reasonable doubt that George Floyd died completely because of the actions of Officer Chauvin. I think that you're going to have a difficult time proving beyond a reasonable doubt that be the case.
I think the only problem I have with that, and we have gone so long, but I think it was good. The only problem I have with that is when people talk about, well, he did overdose before. Okay, so we have some history. He's done this before. He has survived. Now, the only reason why he didn't survive is because of the actions of the officer. And that's why I think he's going to be found guilty.
But is that fair, Mike? Though, couldn't you back that up and say, well, the actions of him, which prompted the officer to up the level of force or couldn't you back that up? I mean,
absolutely not. I won't back that up. And here's why. Because as an officer, your job is to do what? Assist, protect, defend. And it's not just the store owner or whoever else. It's the person you have in your custody. Once you put the bracelets on them, they are your responsibility.
Right. And when you tell them to get in the police car and you make them get in the police car, that is their safety. That is where they're safe, even from the general population.
Right. I got you on that.
So when he won't go in the police car.
I got that. And when they brought him out, what happened? He was no longer safe because of the actions of the officer.
So they brought him out of the car?
He's the one that scooted his own ass out of the truck.
Yeah, I didn't think the cops brought him out of the car.
Yeah,
they were trying to get him in the car.
He ended up out of the car though, right?
Because he wouldn't go in.
Dude, I don't think y'all really understand this. Once you put the bracelets on them, they are your responsibility.
Oh, I understand that completely.
And you're saying get in the car, and he's resisting you getting in the car. And
okay,
and you're trying to pull him in from the other side, and he pushes himself out the other side.
And what happened?
Oh my God, I can't breathe. Let me out of the car. I'm claustrophobic. Let me lay down. So you take him out of the car, and you let him lay down. And he's a big dude. So you're just going to... He's in cuffs. He's okay. Or do you have some type of physical restraint on him?
They didn't have to have that. Take your hand, put it right there on the chain of the bracelets, and you can control him if he's laying down. You can take the smallest person
behind him, just controlling the bracelets.
He can't do much, man. He can barely do anything. Am I right, Jim?
I know, he's a big dude.
Well, they are temporary restraint device. Handcuffs are not permanent. We know this.
Okay.
Just saying. There have been some guys who could break them.
Okay. Here we go.
So
what's the percentage of that?
So
what's the percentage of all of this?
Sit on the ground, he's got handcuffs on. He gets up and he runs out with handcuffs. Then who's the asshole?
Say that again?
I said, so they put him in handcuffs, they let him on the ground, and they leave him there. And he gets up and runs off.
No, you can't. Once you have the bracelets on him, you can't just leave him there. And if you watch the video, I'm gonna guess and say about 5 minutes before that, before he even got to the patrol car, he was on the ground, and they were just leaving him there.
When he was sitting up against the wall?
Yeah, they didn't have anyone like controlling him or whatever.
Yeah, so but at that point he wasn't doing the whole flip the fuck out thing either.
I got that, but my whole point is, once you put those bracelets on him, I'm telling you, you are responsible
Okay.
for him.
Okay.
And that's why you can't let him run off.
Yeah, it's as simple as, I'm not talking about the running off, but yeah, it's a good point.
That's why you got to put a knee on him in case he gets a run off, right?
No, you don't need to put it. He's on his stomach, handcuffed behind his back. No knee is necessary.
Well, there's a small percentage chance that he knows like some martial arts and can jump up and run.
You can't get up on your feet and run away.
Listen, I'm not saying. See, that's you guys look at having control of them is knee in the back. What I'm telling you is, and we used to train this way, you don't need the knee in the back. When you have they're on the ground and you have they're handcuffed behind their back. That's like excessive to me. It's like there's no need for that.
Just stand on his arm.
No one's ever ran in handcuffs?
Say what?
Never.
No one's ever ran in handcuffs?
I'm not saying that, Jim.
Oh, so how do you maintain control?
Let me ask you this.
How do you maintain
Before we go
control?
down this rabbit hole, Jim, are you saying the only way to control someone in handcuffs, lying on the ground, is to put a knee in the back?
I didn't say that.
No. Well, I'm asking you.
No, that's not the only way.
No.
Okay, name another way.
Step on their neck.
You can hold him, physically put your hands on him.
I mean, there's a whole lot of ways to do it.
You can put him in the patrol car.
No, they're on the ground. How else could you control them until the big van or big truck, paddy wagon, whatever comes by?
Not that well. You can at least watch him, and then if he bolts, tackle him before he gets
There's
anywhere.
A big old rock on their head.
A rock.
That's what I do with kids when they cry. I just put them in the tub, put a rock on them, they get quiet real quick.
Hey Jim, I think we better pull the pin before
we gotta pull the pin. We gotta have a whole nother time. There's gonna be plenty of Floyd updates. We could do this all week or month. I think it's gonna go on. So let's pull the pin on that. Let's maybe keep our pull the pins and people of the week or whatever you want to talk about short, and we'll come back another episode. So what do you got? You guys got something?
A pull the pin or a POW?
Whichever you want.
I don't have anything.
Nothing.
No, I don't have anything.
Paul?
I got a shout out to my friend James Hoskins in Clarksville, Tennessee. His gym was voted the best jiu-jitsu gym in Clarksville. This dude spends a whole lot of his time and effort working with the youth in our town to make them more confident and strong in themselves. That's a guy that's putting in the good work as a small business entrepreneur. So I'd like to go ahead and
what's his name?
Hat in this week and give him a congratulations.
What's his name?
James Hoskins.
James Hoskins. He's a vet?
Yeah, he was a medic in the Army. He and I knew
He's a
him
vet.
from
He hasn't been on here yet, right?
ER together at Fort Campbell.
Yeah, we don't want the story. We want to hear from him.
Time, right?
We want to hear the story from him.
Yeah, you want to hear the story from
He's
him.
humble to come tell you his story.
Yeah, but don't tell him tell him to tell you the story about the time I arrested him. Yeah, the medic. I remember him.
He's out there doing the good work, man. And so hats off to him. He's like being a leader in his community and doing it right and raising the next generation with good values. And so, right on.
No, I arrested him one time.
Maybe.
And you have to tell him I said that, though. You have to tell him I said that, man. I arrested him one time, and he put me in a jiu-jitsu move, and I let him go.
And the only way to get out of it is come on the show.
Yeah, that's it.
Tell him he come on the show and promote his work, and we'll
he's doing
put a good word out
there, man. I like that. That's a good one. I'll double that POW right there, man. Seriously. A lot of vets don't get acknowledgement when they're out there doing good things in the community. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Good job, Mike.
Yeah. You got anything, Jim?
I'm just going to keep mine real short because we're way over time. I'm just going to give a shout out to my little secret fan, Johnny, and you know who you are. Keep promoting us. And that is all the time we have for this episode. We hope you come back and join us next time. We hope if you are a veteran, you come on and join us. Get involved. Participate. Till the next time, Godspeed.
Hey, and pull the pin.
Thanks for joining us here at Pull the Pin Already. We hope you had as much fun as we did. If you like what we do, go ahead and hit that like button and share this video with a friend. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell button so you don't miss out on any of our future episodes. But most importantly, leave a comment below. Let us know if you agree or disagree with our opinions. Hope to see you here next time on Pull the Pin Already.